This is a fully trimmed up seat for the Triumph TR2. You get a cushion and a backrest. We've made the seat covers, they're leather faced out of maroon. Leather faced meaning that basically the bits that touch your body when you sit in them are leather, the rest are vinyl. So for example, horseshoe, pleated panel, horseshoe, pleated panel are leather, everything else is vinyl. So what you get is detached like this. So the TR2 frames don't tilt forward. TR2 and TR3, the frames are pretty much the same apart from the fact they don't actually tilt forward on the TR2 models, whereas the TR3s tended to have one fixed like this and the other one tiltable. But effectively everything after that is pretty much the same. The seat foam is exactly the same. The spring that's under here is exactly the same. The seat covers are subtly different though, and I'll go over that in a second. So what you get, a backrest, fully trimmed. So this part here is vinyl around this edge here. That's just glued to the frame. Then as you can see, you can just about make out the tacking strips that go around here. There's also some tacking strips around here, so they're supplied by us as well, and basically they get riveted to the frame itself, and it just allows you to tack all around the edges, which makes trimming a lot easier because it means you don't have to use glue everywhere, which is not particularly easy to undo. The beauty of tacking is it allows you to adjust the trimming process as you go along to get the best finish. So as you can see, that's been fully trimmed up. You've got a couple of very small creases down here, but that won't actually be evident because the cushion will cover it over. Now the cushion, get this here. Now if I turn this over, you can see, so what you've got here is one of our springs. Again, we can supply it, so you can see our little label just down there. Down at the very bottom here, you can see some black calico scrim. This is used, one, to protect the spring, rather the cover from the spring, but also it allows you to pull down the spring to an ideal height for you, give it a nice bit of resistance in there. Obviously some people are taller than others and therefore want to sit at a normal height within the car, so that allows you to do that. Not that you can particularly see it, but there is a piece of 17mm foam that goes around in a banana shape around here, and there's also a bit of 17mm foam under here, in addition to what foam is normally pleated into the actual seat cover itself. What you then use is hog rings, etc., to attach the seat cover to the actual frame. You can see you basically get these bars going around the place as well, so you basically just use those to attach it to there. Get it at a nice height. Now, a very subtle difference between TR2 and TR3 seat covers, something that a couple of other manufacturers out there completely ignore, is TR2, strictly speaking, the piping should sit right along this ridge here. Like I said earlier, the spring between the TR2 and the TR3 is exactly the same, but the seat cover is subtly different, and this is the main area. TR2's, it sat along this ridge here. Now, they actually altered it on the TR3 so that basically that ridge actually sort of fell just over, it almost went like over a waterfall section. And that was because you were finding that it was a bit uncomfortable on the back of your knees, potentially with the piping there, but also wore away the piping. Strictly speaking, this is completely original for the TR2. Some of my customers do choose to go for TR3 style seat covers for that reason. In all honesty, the comfort level and the wearing away isn't really much of a factor these days because the cars simply do not get used enough to warrant that, I believe. So just bear that in mind when you're ordering, but that is strictly speaking the difference, and this is original for the TR2. So that's a set of trimmed up seats. So obviously you would have to supply us with your frames. These are original frames. They have been reconditioned, which is what we always suggest. Some of the aftermarket frames out there are not overly reliable, should we say. There's companies out there selling TR2 and TR3 frames under the TR3A bracket, claiming they're the same, and vice versa. They are not. The TR3As at the top of the backrest up here are a lot pointier, so they will not work. So if you see someone selling TR2 up to TR3A frames, be wary. Okay.